Welcome to Buy It on BirchStreet, the weekly show where we highlight the best of procure-to-pay on demand in innovation, automation, and solutions to help save you and your customers valuable money and time. BirchStreet Systems provides global enterprises with multiple locations a complete procure-to-pay business solution deploying cloud technology. I'm your host, Gareth Fraser. Our guest today is John Figliolini, Director of Strategic Accounts here at BirchStreet Systems. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Gareth.
For our listeners' benefit, those of us at BirchStreet Systems call John Fig just through the sheer inability to repeatedly pronounce his last name. Is it okay if we use the name Fig today?
Yeah, the last name is a long one. It's got 4 I's in there, so you can shorten it to 3 letters. That's perfectly fine.
To begin, can you tell us a little bit about your career and what brought you to BirchStreet Systems?
Absolutely. I've been within the hospitality industry for probably 6, going on 7 years now, maybe. That started with a small company out of New Hampshire in Newmarket that sold a sales and catering software. I quickly found, that the hospitality industry is just a great vertical to be in. I will say that, albeit the software is a little bit behind the curve, it's a great opportunity where, again, these larger players are quickly realizing the benefits of technology. And so by selling software, it's just a perfect match. A great industry and also a great product offering to these customers to help them kind of get into what I would say maybe the 21st century. My relationship or partnership with BirchStreet started at the beginning of 2021. I've done a few different roles in the hospitality industry, managing some sales teams, being a sales member, and then also helping strategic accounts with other companies. What really brought me to BirchStreet was the passion behind the product that they have here. Again, there's an extremely long customer listing, which we're extremely proud about. It's really kind of a 20-year-old company that has a ton of innovation and development still ahead of it. And it's great to see collaboration between all the different departments we have here, the focus and energy we have with regards to the development, maintaining that cutting edge. And most importantly, when you look at the benefit that we provide our customers, there is a ton of value and a ton of money that is saved simply by utilizing the systems that we offer.
How true that is. And with BirchStreet Systems coming up to its 20th anniversary in the year 2022, on the back of 16,000 integrations in 130 countries in 13 languages, it reinforces the powerhouse that BirchStreet System is. Next up, could you go ahead and share with us your role specifically in strategic accounts?
Great question. So another reason why I actually am here is because of the strategic accounts. We've had a long-standing regional-based sales team, but a lot of our, what I would say, house accounts or larger strategic partners were being fielded by a lot of the executive teams and being a direct contact. So when I came to BirchStreet, my role was to be that main point of contact for our house accounts to not only help in any of the commercial dealings, but mainly to be another focal point and touch point for those customers if they needed a response or if they weren't getting a response quick enough that they had another email address and cell phone number to call. And what it also allows me to do is really hone in on the strategy for those customers and ensure that the products that we're delivering today, as well as developing today, are going to have resonance within their portfolio. So again, we have a very large listing of very strategic accounts, great partnerships that we've built over the 20 years. But again, we didn't really have a single focal point for those accounts. And that really is what my role here at BirchStreet is to be that one-to-one conduit for our house accounts and to ensure that they get the level of attention as well as the level of information so they can make strategic decisions of the platform as well.
And these are the bigger names in hospitality around the world. They and all of us, of course, have been impacted by the COVID breakout and pandemic and time period. and the industry and hospitality has been hit particularly hard. Could you go ahead and share your thoughts with us on the impact of that?
Absolutely. So without question, I think the larger thing to take with the pandemic, as you mentioned, and as we all know, is this wasn't something that regionally happened only in, say, Europe or only in Africa. This is something that was a global pandemic, and there was not a industry or a level of severity within the industry that was not impacted, right? Full service, select service, resort, casino, it does not matter what your line of business was. Everybody felt the brunt of COVID and the restrictions on travel. Clearly, the larger corporate customers of ours have that global footprint. So again, as I mentioned, it wasn't just something regionally where they could cover in other areas of the globe. This was something where every single department was impacted. And so what I think we saw with a lot of our larger strategic partners is a focus on some of the additional modules and functionality that we offer that can help address some of the needs and really headcount issues that COVID has left us with. And as we all know, whether it be an exodus from the hospitality industry in general, or just the kind of general loss of workers within these roles, it's extremely important that we leverage the power of the software more than ever. And I think what we've seen, at least over the last 2 years, is folks like Marriott and Hilton and Hyatt and others really focusing in on what do we have to offer for automation? What can we utilize the software to do? Whereas, again, we can repurpose some of the work that our current folks are doing. And for the folks that we are not able to hire because we can't find them, we're having the software take over those processes and functions, which in reality only further enhances the visualization of your entire purchasing department. Because again, a lot more emphasis and focus is given into the software now as we look back to implement into some of the services that we offer here to further enhance and answer the issues that COVID left us with.
And it's wonderful to see the hospitality industry emerging back from this pandemic period and BirchStreet Systems being right there to assist them along the path. And you did mention the passion of the BirchStreet team and the power of the platform, and we only have time for one more question. And both those words you know well with your passion for surfing and the power of the ocean. Perhaps you can share with our listeners how you found your love of surfing.
Something that truly drives me, which is nature, right? I love being out and immersed in the environment and the elements, and no better way to do that other than 30 yards offshore in a surfing lineup waiting for waves to come in. Completely disconnected from the land, you're on your own. It is an individual sport. You end up doing so in a group setting, right? What drew me to surfing was not only the environment it puts you in, which I thoroughly love, but more importantly, I also really enjoy taking advantage of, the natural energy, right? Whether it's surfing down a wave that's been traveling across the Atlantic Ocean for miles and miles and miles, and it's on its last 10, 20 yards that you get to enjoy it. And what drove me to surfing was that pure environmental element, and also the fun of being able to harness the power of something else and leverage that for my own enjoyment, I guess, if that makes sense. So to tie that back to BirchStreet, really, and part of the reason I'm here, as you had mentioned before, to maybe dovetail that answer, is simply it's the passion that a lot of these folks have within the development, the support, and the customer success teams, right? We do truly stand behind our product, and we do truly stand behind our process. And I think that's a leading factor. That's what has allowed us to be such a dominant force within hospitality. That never-ending customer service level of getting the responses back as quickly as we can, and making adjustments to ensure that we can make whatever times and availability the customer may have to ensure they get the products that they would need and nothing more.
You've been listening to John Figliolini, Director of Strategic Accounts at BirchStreet Systems. Thanks for joining us today on the show, Fig.
Thanks for having me, Gareth. I hope everybody has a fantastic holiday season and a wonderful 2022.
I echo those sentiments. That's all the time we have, so it's goodbye from us, and we'll see you next time right here on Buy It on Birch Street.